Good afternoon or evening. It's right on the line there. This is day 11 of my journey. So it's a shorter one today because, well, not a lot happened and it was fairly quiet. Today's sessions ended up showing me something actually really specific. And more importantly, I think something that I can actually work with. Now, yesterday the focus was on not breaking up motion, and that actually held today, and I started to accomplish stuff. So today we flip. Primary was be prepared. This morning's primary session started from a very strong baseline, and to be honest, normally when I get up, my voice, of course, is just having woken up very deep. Then I get up, I move around, and it starts to lift up a bit. But today, when I got into the studio area, it was still deep. So everything was open, everything was relaxed. Um, First take was pretty much solid. Pitch was there, timing was there, even hit some of the low notes. But the problem was that to me it felt lazy compared to the backing tracks. So I guess the best term is it lacked intent, under energized. So obviously that was something I needed to figure out. Now, as always, I'm really in that mindset of do not try. So I had to figure out how could I get more intent without focusing on pushing more. So usually the way I deal with that is with the microphone right here. Um, Usually when I'm just starting, I sing into the microphone. Um, when it's trying to build up intent, I actually think about singing to somebody sitting on the other side of the space from the microphone. So now I'm projecting a little bit, and that's going through the microphone. That worked. I did push a little too far because now I seem to be dropping into this passive calibration, overcompensation, and continuation. Um, I will say at one point in this second take, I was really in the headspace. The piece ends on an A1 where I'm currently singing. It's I'm not going to get the pitches right now, but it's sort of this be prepared. But I was really into the moment. I went be prepared, and I realized at that exact moment that I'd gone to the wrong octave. And at that point, I took what I'm referring to as a scenic tour of my vocal map. I was like, this is the wrong note. I'm supposed to be down there. I decided I'm going to drop down to that note now that I've hit the top note. And I dropped sort of at a curve with a couple of turns. I think my voice ended in Albuquerque. Um, it was interesting. So overall, didn't land quite on spot, but I held the technique. I didn't completely lose everything. It was a beautifully supported vocal fly. So I don't want to think of it as a mistake. It's really a learning experience. Um, Everything stayed active despite me trying to, in real time, turn the ship. I actually got a good laugh out of that. So when I hit 114, now I'm in the mindset of singing. I'm more relaxed. Everything came online. The presence, very controlled. The tone was spot on, including the last note. And I was able to sing it past the microphone. So good engagement. And I didn't push to do that, it just came out. Now, I was at a point right now where I thought I could stop. And one of the things that happens is that when I'm singing that A1, I'm often trying to sing it in my chest voice, which probably not the best idea because my chest voice doesn't really stretch down there all the time. While I was sitting there after take 114, I accidentally went subharmonic for the A1. And I thought, maybe just for an experimental purpose, I try the take again and see if the subharmonic just pops out naturally. Now, very important here, I'm not chasing and I'm not trying, but now that I've got this new tool that I just felt, would that tool work? Bad news didn't happen. Good news, take 115 was identical to take 114. Everything stayed together, consistency was there, and the consistency was huge for me. Now, the A1 without a subharmonic gets quieter and quieter the further I go. I can do the subharmonic on its own. I can just hit an A2 and drop to an A1. In the middle of a phrase, in the middle of a song, it doesn't happen yet. And that's something I'm still looking for in the off time. When I'm singing, I'm just releasing. So the note is becoming more internal than external. That's what I'm hoping will develop next. So the primary session, just sum that one up. I'm no longer trying to build a system. Now I'm trying to tweak it and regulate it. So the singing is becoming more solid, if not necessarily not performative. So the second session, which is my secondary session, is the Boulevard. And for secondary, it's usually just a refresh. And this morning, I actually was in a little bit of a time crunch. I had to take a family member to the doctor. And I had to basically stay focused, do what I needed to, and go from there. So, yes, that was me actually trying to move something that made noise in my virtual world. Anyway, after a short warm-up, the system came right online. Section 1, which is the initial intro up an octave, really, I think that's finally beginning to roll together. Really strong consistency in tone, and the notes. The first line starts, "I walk alone, Lee Road," and that Lee is a little bit of a reach. Today it wasn't a reach; it just came in, and the note color didn't feel like it was different from the rest of the phrase. Section 2, which is where I drop an octave, I walk up, that it's stable, it's moving beyond just technical, it's almost performance level at this point, or at least controlled to make it performance level. There's still work to do in tone, color, and expression, and it's especially tricky because of the way it's arranged. It in places is very staccato and emotionless, and in other places there's a heightened emotion. So that one performance-wise is going to take some work. Section 3, the first chorus. That's where I've had the most problems, and it's again part of a newer section, and that's the one where I basically have to hit, I think it's F4, D sharp 4, from Boulevard of Broken Dreams, my shadow, my shallow. And what I realized yesterday is that the pre-chorus, which is I walk alone, I walk then it goes my shadow. I was breaking that up into two entirely different sections. And what was happening is I was disengaging so that when I had to go for that F, it wasn't there. So today's mentality was to basically say, it's on the same line, there's just a half rest in there. It's a little longer than a half rest, but the whole idea in my mind was I'm just going to keep moving through it. And it worked today by keeping that concept of continuous phrasing. The everything stayed engaged, and I hit the F4 at the beginning of the first and the second line. It began to decay a little. So there's still some instability. I don't know whether or not I started thinking about now the next line, which did that breakdown, or if it was potentially fatigue, but I'm getting there. The note was repeatable, and that was today's shift. Um, so when I did the second one, I had another problem occur. If I jumped in too early, I would not be able to carry the energy all the way through the line, and the tone would sort of flatten off. I'd lose my breath support, and on two or three of the lines in my second take, I just ran out of air entirely. So, what I'm seeing isn't just how to access the notes, but how to better distribute that energy across the entire phrase, or better yet, distribute that energy across the phrase, bring in a breath without disengaging. So that's about where I'm going with that. Section 4, which is again the newest section, I think because I did overall better in the first 3 sections, that the enthusiasm carried me to lift up the 4th session a bit. Still early in integrating it in. Okay, I said this was a short one, so where we are. The mental process of getting into the chorus from the pre-chorus, I think I'm closing that door. I'm really, or more properly, I'm trying to hold the door from the pre-chorus into the chorus. The issue of getting there, that's going to be the thing that I hope continues to show progress. Tomorrow, my primary is Boulevard, so I will definitely be working to find little improvements. But of course, step 1 is always trying less. Just knowing where the instrument is supposed to be to make it bring up the note. Another one is finding that straight level of energy, not running the energy and then running out of the energy, which of course will continue to help me figure out when to breathe, how much to breathe. I think I may have mentioned it earlier in the run of these episodes, but just to reiterate, in 2023 I had a very severe case of COVID, which put me in the hospital for 40 days. The side effect being my ability to hold and control breath. It's actually come a really long way I'd say now about a month of having worked on this. I went about 2 or 3 weeks before I was ready to start doing videos of what I'm doing. But it's improving, and I think it's been the best exercise I can have for my lungs. So anyway, there was a shift today. Yesterday it was about not breaking the motion, and today was sort of the proof that if I didn't break motion, things worked. It's really not about reaching the note. It's not about starting the phrase. It's about having the system going so that you're not looking for it's going to be there, and you're not thinking about how do you start. It's already going. So it's trying to keep the engine running and warmed up. And when that happens, even if I take the scenic route to get there, I'm now arriving more, and I think that's a good thing. Okay, short one. As always, if you're following along, as always, thank you. I continually will daily express my appreciation for this. If you are new and just stumbling upon this process of mine, please feel free to look at some of the past ones to get the evolution of the story, and of course subscribe. Likes and comments, they really do help, and I'm not asking for the algorithm. I'm asking because they, again, help me know that I'm in the right direction and not in a vacuum. So that's going to be it for day 11. Really short. I think tomorrow will be a little longer, and I will be back tomorrow. It'll be day 12. Thanks as always, and later.